Hey everyone, welcome to the show. Have you
hmm
ever wished you could rewind on life?
Yeah.
Go back and maybe fix a mistake or rewrite a whole chapter?
Oh, absolutely.
Well, in the world of fantasy romance, that's not just a wish, it's a reality.
Mm.
So today we're diving deep into Villainess's redemption. It's
Ooh.
this fantasy romance novel where our protagonist, Ilyana Darkane, actually gets a second chance to change her fate.
Mm.
And you can find a link to buy the book on Amazon down in the episode description. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you love getting lost in these captivating stories.
Yes.
So we're looking specifically at chapters 13 through 23 today.
Okay.
And this section really throws you right into the thick of it.
Yeah.
So we pick up with Ilyana. She's married to Noah again.
Oh, wow.
But things are definitely not all sunshine and roses this time around.
That's right.
She's trying to navigate this new version of her life,
Hmm.
but it seems like her past actions are having some serious consequences.
Oh, interesting.
Like, for example, we see this when Ilyana actually confronts Gareth,
hmm
her cruel and abusive cousin.
Oh, right.
And she does this to protect this vulnerable barmaid.
That's intense.
Yeah,
So what's interesting here, I think, is how Ileana's perception of everyone has shifted now that she's, actively trying to be a better person. Like, she sees the queen's vulnerability now and Rosalind's inner strength,
yeah.
and even starts to question Prince Anderic's motives.
Oh, Andrew.
Right. And he seems to be both drawn to her,
Yeah.
but also suspicious of her.
I feel that. It's almost like she's seeing everyone with, fresh eyes,
Hmm.
without the filter of her own ambition and bitterness.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it raises a really, really important question, I think. Like, can people truly change?
Yeah,
Or are they always bound by, their past actions?
right. And that is the question that Ilyana is grappling with throughout these chapters. It's so interesting. And her attempts at redemption, I mean, they're sometimes hilarious.
Oh.
Like when she tries to teach these noble ladies how to cook. Imagine that.
That's great.
Right.
It's such a small act.
Yeah.
But it just speaks volumes about how Ileana is really, challenging the societal norms of this world.
Totally.
In her previous life, she would have never considered setting foot in a kitchen.
Never.
And now she's embracing these practical skills, and she's advocating for women to be more than just, ornaments in this patriarchal society.
Yeah. Yeah. It's awesome.
It's great.
But it's not all fun and games, though.
No.
Things take a very serious turn when Ilyana discovers a plot to poison the queen.
Oh, no.
And she ends up drinking the poisoned wine herself to save her.
Oh, wow.
Talk about a sacrifice.
That's huge. That incident, it's like a major turning point in the story.
Yeah.
For one thing, it really showcases Ileana's willingness to put herself in danger for others.
Right.
Which is, that's such a stark contrast to her self-serving behavior in the past.
Totally. It's
Yeah.
like she's finally understanding the true meaning of selflessness.
Right. And it also kind of solidifies Prince Anderic's growing attraction to her.
Yeah, he is kind of into her.
Right. He sees this act of self-sacrifice,
Totally.
and he starts to believe that maybe, just maybe,
Yeah.
Ileana is more than the manipulative villainess she once was.
Right, right. And speaking of Anderic, he's actually the only one who believes Ilyana
Yes.
when she claims that, someone tried to frame her for this poisoning.
Right. And that's crucial
It is.
because it shows that Ileana is, beginning to earn people's trust.
Yeah.
And she's building these genuine connections, which is something that she never really prioritized in her past life.
Never.
But, on the flip side, it also raises the stakes because now the mystery surrounding the poisoning, it just deepens.
Right.
And the threat to Ileana and her family becomes even more apparent.
So she's trying to do good, but it seems like danger is following her every step of the way.
Exactly. And even her attempts to actually change the future, they seem to be backfiring in some ways. Like the assassination attempt on the queen. Yeah.
Which was supposed to happen at the spring ball in her previous timeline.
Mm-hmm.
It happens later, but it's different.
Oh.
Like Rosalind is there this time,
Oh, I love Rosalind.
and she's actively involved in protecting the queen.
That's amazing.
It's great.
Yeah.
And then there's this confrontation between Ilyana and Rosalind in Rosalind's chambers,
Yes,
which I think is a pivotal moment.
it is.
For maybe the first time, Ilyana is truly honest with Rosalind
Yeah.
about her past jealousy
Mm-hmm.
and the reasons behind her actions.
It's like a weight has been lifted off of her shoulders,
Totally.
and she's finally ready to face the consequences of her past, Even if it means losing Rosalind's friendship.
That's powerful.
It is, right.
Yeah.
This vulnerability is a huge step for Ilyana. It shows that she's not just trying to change the future, she's trying to change herself.
Absolutely.
And while Rosalind doesn't immediately forgive her, you can see that, like, the seeds of understanding, they've been planted.
Yeah. And then there's this moment during the attack when Ilyana realizes she will never be as skilled with a sword as Rosalind.
Huh.
And you can practically feel the, like, bitterness and the envy, can't you?
It's palpable.
Yeah.
That's such a great example of how, even with a second chance,
Yeah.
there are limitations to what Ilyana can actually change.
Totally.
You know, she might have knowledge of the future, but she still has to deal with her own insecurities.
Right.
And the reality of, like, what she's actually capable of physically.
It's a good point. It's also a reminder that strength comes in many forms.
Yes.
And Rosalind, she just embodies this type of strength that Ilyana, despite her noble upbringing, may never fully possess.
Absolutely. And speaking of strength, let's not forget about Laurel, Ilyana's maid.
Oh, Laurel. I love her.
You might be a silent observer
Yeah.
for, a good chunk of the story.
Yeah.
But her subtle reactions and her unwavering loyalty, I mean, they speak volumes.
They do. I love how she's always there for Ilyana, even when she disagrees with her choices.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
She represents that, like, voice of reason
Yeah.
and conscience,
Yeah.
constantly reminding Ilyana about the potential consequences of her actions.
It's true. And their relationship, it just adds this layer of depth and complexity
totally.
that I find so engaging.
I agree. It's a reminder that even in a world of magic and second chances,
Yeah.
true loyalty is so rare.
It's precious.
And precious.
But back to the chaos.
Okay.
The assassination attempt throws the palace into complete disarray,
Understandably.
and Ilyana's main focus becomes finding her mother.
Of course.
The scene where she races through the panicked crowds, just desperately searching for her.
Yeah.
It's heart-wrenching.
It's so intense. It really highlights just, like, the stakes involved.
Right.
Ilyana's actions, they have consequences.
Yeah.
Not just for herself, but for those that she loves the most.
Right. And even with her knowledge of the future,
Yeah.
she's not immune to, like, the pain and the fear
The raw emotion.
of what's happening in the present.
Absolutely. And then that discovery of Lady Amelia's death.
Oh, I know.
It's just, it's a gut punch.
It is.
I mean, she was like a mother to Anderic.
Yeah.
And her loss clearly just, like, shakes him to his core.
Totally.
And Amelia's death, it's a stark reminder of just the human cost of these events.
Mhm.
It underscores that theme of loss
Yeah.
and just the fragility of life,
Right.
even in a world of magic and second chances.
It really makes you realize that some things are just simply irreplaceable.
Absolutely.
And amidst all this chaos, Ilyana makes this chilling realization. The assassins are targeting this specific area of the Grand Hall,
Oh.
the same area where her mother would have been standing in her previous timeline.
Oh, no.
Right. It's a horrifying thought
I know.
that her meddling with the past might have actually inadvertently put her mother in even greater danger.
It's a terrifying possibility.
Right. And it raises the question of fate versus free will. Can Ilyana truly change the future?
Yeah.
Or is she simply altering these details
Right.
while, like, the larger events
Mm-hmm.
remain tragically inevitable?
It's a question that just kind of hangs over everything.
It does. It really haunts Ilyana throughout these chapters.
Yeah.
And I have a feeling it's going to continue to plague her as the story unfolds.
Oh, for sure. It's a chilling thought, to think that, like, you could try to change the past, but it actually might make things worse. But Ilyana, being Ilyana, doesn't just, like, stand there and panic. She springs into action.
Right. She remembers those hidden passages in the palace.
Yes.
And she tells Laurel to take her mom to safety.
Smart.
Talk about thinking on her feet. It's amazing.
It really is. It's a brilliant moment.
Yeah.
It shows just how resourceful she is and, like, her ability to adapt,
Mhm.
to these crazy situations. She's using her knowledge of the palace, both from her past life and her current one,
Right.
to protect her family.
And let's not forget, she's doing all of this while battling her own, like, demons,
Mhm.
and trying to come to terms with the fact that she might have, like, accidentally caused her mother's death.
Exactly. It's a testament to her strength.
Right.
Her determination. Even when faced with, like, overwhelming fear and guilt, she doesn't give up.
Okay, but can we just talk about the fight scenes for a minute? Rosalind, with a sword in her hand, total badass.
Oh, I know. The way she moves, the precision of her strikes, it's elegant and deadly.
Mm.
And then Noah, fighting by her side,
Yeah.
equally impressive.
Yeah, they're amazing.
They make an incredible team.
I love how they just they complement each other's fighting styles.
Totally.
Rosalind is all about grace and agility,
Yes.
while Noah is more about brute strength and power. It's like watching a perfectly choreographed dance of death.
I love that. And, the author really doesn't shy away from the violence.
No.
The fight choreography is so vividly described. You can practically feel the clash of steel, the thud of bodies hitting the floor.
No, I know.
It's exhilarating and terrifying.
It is, at the same time.
At the same time, exactly. And then there's Derek. He transforms,
On Derek.
from charming prince to, this ruthless warrior.
Yeah, he's got it going on.
He does, taking down these assassins with this, cold precision.
It's scary.
It's fascinating and a little unsettling.
It is. It's like a switch just flips, and suddenly he's this, lethal force to be reckoned with. Makes you wonder, what other secrets he's hiding beneath that charming facade.
Right. And Derek's transformation, that's one of the most intriguing aspects of this whole section, I think.
It is. It's like it reveals this, depth to his character.
Totally.
That goes beyond just, the polished veneer of courtly life.
Yeah.
It also makes you question his true motives.
Oh, for sure.
And what lengths he'll go to protect those that he values.
Yeah.
So we've got Rosalind and Noah, this dynamic duo fighting side by side. And then we have Derek, a whirlwind of, golden fury.
Yes.
Just cutting through enemies like a hot knife through butter. It's pure action movie magic. But amidst all this chaos, Ilyana and Laurel, they're trapped in their little hiding place.
Oh.
And an assassin actually finds them.
Oh.
And Ilyana, armed with nothing but a kitchen knife, takes him down. I mean, talk about making the most of a bad situation.
It's incredible. Ilyana's quick thinking and her improvisation skills are just on full display.
It's amazing.
It shows that she's not just a scheming socialite, she's a survivor. She can defend herself, even when the odds are completely stacked against her.
Totally.
And then, just when the fight seems like it's winding down, Ilyana notices something that wasn't there in her previous timeline.
Ooh, what's that?
Another arrow, aimed directly at Derek.
Whoa. Wait, an arrow that shouldn't be there?
Yes, it's this terrifying twist that just throws everything into question. Did Ilyana's actions somehow create this new threat? Is this fate pushing back against her? Her trying to change the past? It's a total cliffhanger.
It is.
It leaves you wanting more.
Oh, I know. Does she save him? Does this change their relationship? I need to know.
Right. That's the beauty of a good cliffhanger.
It is.
It keeps you guessing. It keeps you on the edge of your seat.
I don't know about you, but I am hooked. These chapters have been a roller coaster of emotions, fear, excitement, heartbreak, and just a touch of humor sprinkled in for good measure.
I agree. And I think, that's what makes Villainess's redemption so compelling. It's not just a fantasy romance. It's a story about second chances, the complexities of human nature and the consequences of our choices. What really stood out to you in this section? Was it the action? The character development?
For me, it's the way the author just seamlessly weaves together all those different elements.
Yes.
You have these intense fight scenes that keep you on the edge of your seat.
Right.
But then you also have these quiet moments of introspection and character development.
Yeah.
That really make you connect with the characters on this deeper level.
Totally. It's you're experiencing the story on multiple levels,
Yeah.
The physical, the emotional, and the intellectual.
I totally agree. And you know what? The way the author uses those hidden passages
Oh, yes.
to symbolize Ilyana's journey, brilliant.
It is. They represent the hidden depths of her character, the secrets that she's kept buried for so long, and the paths that she's now choosing to take.
That's such a great observation. I never even thought about it that way, but it makes so much sense.
Right. And it's not just Ilyana who's evolving. We see growth in the other characters as well.
Well, for sure.
Rosalind's resilience, Noah's loyalty, even the Queen's unexpected vulnerability.
Yeah.
They're all responding to Ilyana's transformation.
It's she's a catalyst for change.
Yes.
Not just for herself, but for everyone around her.
Exactly. And that brings us back to that burning question.
That's right.
Can people truly change?
Yeah.
It's the question that hangs over everything.
It does.
In these chapters.
Absolutely.
Ilyana she's desperately trying to prove that she can be better, but the past, it keeps pulling her back.
It's like she's caught in this tug of war between who she was and who she wants to be.
Exactly. And that tension, that uncertainty, it's what keeps you hooked.
It does. You're rooting for Ilyana to succeed,
Mm-hmm.
but you're also terrified of what might happen if she fails.
Uh-huh.
So what do you think our listeners should be, like, thinking about as they, anxiously await the next installment of Villainess's redemption?
Here's a thought-provoking question.
Oh, I like this.
We've seen how Ilyana's actions, even those with good intentions, can have, unintended consequences.
Yeah.
So the question is, can she ever truly escape the shadow of her former self? Or is she destined to always be haunted by the choices she made, even as she tries to create a better future?
That's a great question to ponder.
Right.
And it ties in perfectly with the themes of fate, free will, and redemption.
Absolutely. And it's something I think we'll continue to kind of grapple with as we delve deeper into Ilyana's journey.
Well, I don't know about you, but I'm ready to dive back into the world of Villainess's redemption and find out what happens next. It really makes you wonder, can you ever truly outrun your past?
It's a question that I think resonates with all of us.
Yeah.
We all have those moments we wish we could take back, those choices we regret. But Villainess's redemption takes that concept to a whole new level.
Because Ilyana isn't just dealing with, like, the normal pangs of regret, right? She's facing the consequences of actions that literally destroyed lives.
Exactly. And it's not just about making amends.
Right.
It's about confronting the darkness within herself and finding a way to truly change, to become someone worthy of redemption.
Right. And it's not an easy journey either. We see her constantly battling her old instincts, those manipulative tendencies that come so naturally to her.
It's like she's carrying the weight of her past self on her shoulders,
Yeah.
always trying to outmaneuver it
Right.
to prove that she's different now.
But then there are those moments of pure selflessness, like when she risks her life to save the queen, or throws herself in front of that arrow meant for Andaric.
Right. Those moments show us that she's capable of change.
Yeah.
That she's not just putting on an act. There's a genuine desire to do good, to protect those she cares about.
Totally.
Even if it means sacrificing her own safety.
I think that's what makes her such a compelling character. She's flawed. She makes mistakes, but she's trying so hard to be better.
And that struggle, that internal conflict, that's what makes her relatable. We all have those battles within ourselves.
Totally.
Those moments where we have to choose between the easy path and the right one.
So what do you think is the biggest takeaway from these chapters for you? What's the message that sticks with you?
For me, it's the idea that redemption is a process, not a destination.
Okay.
It's not something you achieve overnight. It's something you have to work for day in and day out.
Right.
And it's not always pretty. You're going to stumble.
Yeah.
You're going to fall. But the important thing is to keep getting back up and keep moving forward.
And to never give up on yourself.
Exactly.
Even when it feels like everyone else has.
Ilyana is surrounded by people who doubt her, who judge her for her past actions.
Right.
But she refuses to let their perceptions define her. She knows who she is, and she's determined to prove that she can be better.
And that's a message we can all take to heart, don't you think?
Absolutely. We all have the power to change, to grow, to become better versions of ourselves. It might not be easy, but it's always worth the effort.
Well, on that inspiring note, it's time for us to wrap up this deep dive into Villainess's redemption. What an incredible journey it's been.
I've thoroughly enjoyed dissecting these chapters with you. It's always fascinating to delve into a story that explores such complex themes and characters.
I couldn't agree more. And now we want to hear from you. What were your favorite moments from chapters 13 through 23? What surprised you? What are your predictions for what's to come? Head over to the comments and share your thoughts with us.
We love hearing from our listeners, so don't be shy. Join the conversation and let's unpack this story together.
And that's it for this deep dive. Thanks for joining us on this wild ride through the world of Villainess's redemption. Until next time, keep those pages turning and those minds open.